Hello and welcome to this intuitive reading for 2024. This feels like a big year, a solid year, and in the reading I brought through for this year, it's clear that this is a year where a lot is going to come together. So my name is Asia Suler. I am an author, an herbalist, and an earth intuitive, and every year I give a reading for the year ahead. I connect to the earth, to the deep soil of this planet, and see what visual metaphor understanding wants to come through to help us walk through this year with clarity and grace. And so for this year of 2024, the visual that I was given is of the great cosmic soup. Now hold with me for a second, because sometimes when we hear soup, part of us goes, oh no, but that's not the kind of soup we're talking about. So just to ground here, when we think about soup, I want you to think about the great cauldron, this cauldron that is so often a symbol for rebirth, for alchemy, this place where disparate elements can come together and create a whole that can actually nourish you for a long time to come. So there is a steadiness to this year. There's a gentleness to this year, and the great cosmic soup is actually something that's coming to nourish you. So let's go into the details now and just sit back and see whatever it is that resonates with you here. So when I tuned in, what I saw and heard very strongly was this. You have been working on these disparate elements in your life. These, whether it's work or personal or relationship, you've been working really hard to gain skill in these certain separate elements or areas of your life. And this compartmentalization or separation has allowed for this skill to be born. It has allowed for great precision. So when we think about making a soup, for example, think about those fun cooking videos online where all the elements are already in their individual little pots, right? It's almost this feeling like over the last 4 or 5 years, you have been pouring so much energy into really crafting these individual elements, like the precision of cutting the celery and the carrots just so, or of creating your dumplings. And now these disparate elements are ready to all come together. The words that came in for me with 2024 were synthesis and integration. And through this synthesis and integration, this creation of a third element of magic, this element that we have been hungering for now for at least 4 years or perhaps even longer. Now, of course, when the goal is always to make this alchemical soup, right? To make this broth that's going to nourish you, that's going to feed your belly, that's going to give you the strength to move into the next era of your life. Of course, we all say to ourselves, well, this is what I've been dreaming of, right? Like, I have worked on all these different pieces, and of course I want them all to come together now into this whole. And of course, there's also been this feeling in these last several years in particular of why is it not quite coming together just yet? It's like I've worked so hard here and so hard there, and this is kind of working and this is working, but there's some kind of synthesis that just hasn't fully landed yet. And so we're saying to ourselves, of course I dream of this. I want this with all of my heart. And I do want to mention here that there might be a moment where there's a bit of fear that comes up. Now, hear me out here. When we are creating and chopping and gathering our different elements, right, there is an aspect here where we have control. Like, I have control over how much rosemary I chop, and I have control over, what exactly the onion looks like when I dice it. We lose control when we finally put all of those elements into the pot together. And so this is important though, because when we give up that control, that's when that third element can come in, that magic, that synergy that helps everything to come together. And yet there probably will be a part of you, as I know there's a part of me, that will be nervous about giving up these pieces that you've worked so hard on individually, that you've developed so much precision within, and the letting go is important. The trust is important this year, that there is a greater synthesis in your life, in your own personal energy field, and in the world at large that is going to happen with you being willing to let go and surrender some of the control that was necessary to create the skill and precision that you have gathered in these years in the learning of the gathering and the preparing of these elements, but that it's important now to let them go into the pot so they can come together. There are patterns and programs and flavors and new sensorial experiences inside your body that you have never dreamed of before. And these things cannot be imagined, right? Until you let these elements come together, until you let the synthesis come together. There are parts of you that are ready to be integrated this year. And this might be ringing some bells for you. And if it is, just sit with it. And instead of efforting and thinking about, well, how am I going to bring this all together? Or this resonates, but I don't even really know what it means. Like, just be in the soup yourself and just allow this sense or the feeling of, there's a bit of my energy nudging over here and a bit over here. And I'm not even sure what names to give those two disparate aspects, but I'm going to allow them to come touch, to come meet, to just dream into what that might feel like. Because ultimately what we're courting here with the making of the soup and with the greater synthesis that is our experience of coming here onto this planet and learning wholeness and integration once again, is this courting of the third element, this third element that comes in a relationship between one and another, whether it's parts of yourselves or it's a relationship with another person or a relationship with a landscape. A big part of why we come here to Earth is to learn about relationships in this physical form. And so what happens in relationships when two elements come together, this third element is created. And that third element, there's a lot of names for it, but one name for it is simply magic. That third element is the magic, the unseen flow of energy and potential that moves through our world and that replenishes our stores and that reminds us why we're here. And this third element is what we all desire. It's what we all are yearning for and thirsting for and hungry for. And when we allow the synthesis to happen, that's when that third element can come in. So soup seems very humble as a metaphor for this year, but let's remember that for our ancestors, soup would have been this elixir of life. It would have been the cauldron in which you nourished your whole family, in which you nourished your existence. It also would have been the place where you were creating medicine. It's very common throughout many cultures in the world for the soup itself and the soup stock to be made with medicinal herbs. And so this alchemy that will be created this year through you being willing to allow this synergy to happen is a medicine for you. It's medicinal. And that nourishment that will come in as a result of that will be here to nourish you for years to come. And that's very much the feeling that I got, that there is a coming together that's going to happen for you this year. And it's one of those things that will just like happen no matter what, as long as you let go and trust. And that when that comes together, there's something that's going to be created this year that is going to continue to nourish you for years to come, like something that you can continue to eat from and be held. So there's a feeling this year that there's actually safety in throwing spaghetti at the wall, which is a term for just like seeing, you throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, right? Like there's safety in trying new things. There's safety in taking creative risks, because there's this sense that you have built such a foundation over these past 4 or 5 years of really tending these separate elements. And make no mistake, you've worked really hard in these last handful of years, really hard, right? And yet this is the magic that we've been courting, right? Everything coming together and synthesizing itself. So let yourself surprise yourself this year. Release the burdens of roles that no longer fit and allow this integration to happen. There's a very much a deep sense for me of this global quickening that's happening in the world. And to me, it feels like the energy of when you're finally coming home. It's like when you go out on a trip or a drive, right? The way there always seems longer than the way back. It's like the way back, it seems so much quicker because we know the way already. And there's like an element of security and peace, right? Because we're headed home. That to me is what this global quickening feels like right now. It's a journey homewards. And so if you are feeling that quickening around you, know that the thing that is needed, right, to sustain yourself in this moment of quickening is something like a very hearty, grounded soup, right? So soups, as anyone who's made one knows, when you first put all the elements together, it might be slightly bland, or the flavor profile won't be completely there at first. And that's by design, right? It takes a minute. It takes some time. So there's an element of being open to magic this year, and this third element coming in and creating kind of integration and synthesis that you couldn't have imagined of before, as well as patience, right? And there's this feeling like this soup will be steeping all year. Like this is a steeping year. Like let go, allow the pieces to come together in ways maybe you weren't even sure how they could come together, but just allowing it to happen. And at the end of this year, whatever you create will have this quality of nourishment to guide you through the years to come. What my guides told me and what really came through from the earth was this feeling that you will look back on this year of 2024 and say to yourself, this was the year when everything came together and I didn't even know it yet. So remind yourself of this when you feel like your life is still on like chunks and pieces, or when you feel like your life is like a puzzle that hasn't come together yet. You will look back on this year and think to yourself, this was the year where everything came together and I didn't even know it yet. From integration, all things are possible. This is at the core of our journey of why we come here to this planet. We come here to experience separation and division, because what a unique experience to have as a soul. And then we come here to experience the journey of moving towards integration once again. Like that is at the heart, at the core of our journey on this planet. And so from integration, new growth, new vistas, new possibilities, new openings will naturally occur. From integration, we connect once again into our soul's mission here on this planet, into our own core of energy and potential, and connect once again to the greater dream of our earth. The feeling that I very much got when I was tuning into this is the feeling of a warm belly, like when your belly is filled with really nourishing soup. And that's the sense that I get that will be accompanying us when we approach the end of 2024. This sense of having now a warm belly for the journey ahead. Like no matter how many steps then you have to walk after that, no matter how much more the quickening happens in this world, like there's a warm belly to see you through. And that's what we're moving towards at the end of this year. And so I wanted to read this quote that came through for me when I was channeling this reading for the new year, because the poetics of it it really resonated with me. And sometimes things are best said in poetry. So here's the quote. A warm belly stepping bravely into the beyond. A warm belly stepping bravely into the next area of your life. A warm belly, the security of knowing who you are. A warm belly, your place in this world is known. A warm belly, you are coming home. So, as we move into this new year, we step into 2024, I invite you to reflect on, what have you been working on in your life? Like, what have you been pouring your love and attention and dedication and effort into in your life? What in your personal life? What in your work life? What in your relationships? Can you feel into those as separate entities, almost like celestial bodies in the sky, right? Like you've done so much work here, so much work there, so much work over here. And if you can just feel it now, maybe even in this exact moment as we're speaking, can you feel this somatically in your body? You might even feel it in one part of your body versus another part, these different elements that you have worked on. And then now, if it feels good to do so, you could imagine these different areas of your body or your field where you've worked on these different things. Imagine them, or just invite them to come together. And you don't even have to know how this is going to happen. And maybe they'll come together in your belly with a feeling of warmth. Maybe they'll come together in your low back with that feeling of warmth. Maybe they'll come together somewhere else. But so much of this is going to be a felt experience rather than an intellectualized experience of how this is going to come together. There's a primal nourishment to this. And all you have to do is just allow that energetic synthesis to happen, and things will come together in your wider life. So thank you so much for being with me today in this reading for 2024. I have such a grounded, nourished, hopeful feeling about this year ahead. I am like willing to let this great cosmic soup come together in my own life. And I pray for you too, that soup will come together with just so much delight and so much nourishment and so much potential. There's so much potential here with all of the work that you have done. So now your job is just to sit back and let it happen. So thank you for being here, and many, many blessings on the year to come.